There's a great strategy for working through frustration when you're at home, and particularly doing schoolwork, because very often children will get frustrated when they're doing work, and that's what we'd say is a perfect time for a break. And so it's time to take a break, but for some children, they don't know how to ask for a break. And so we need to give them tools so that they then learn how to ask for a break. So that might be a visual card that you have sitting on the table, and the child can point to it. But when you're in the early stages of teaching children how to take a break or how to ask for a break, you're going to need to guide them through that. And our first cue is frustration. When you see frustration in a child, that's a great time to say, I think it's time to take a break. And you would point to the break card and say, it's time to take a break. And then you might offer choices for a break. You might have some pictures in front where the child can pick an activity. It might be having a food break. It might be having a bit of a play or exercise break. It might be just some quiet time. But what it does is it gives that child a time to step away, to recover from the frustration, and then be ready to come back in a calm state to learn. Learning happens best when we're all in a calm state, and so taking breaks throughout the day, taking breaks throughout the learning activities are really important, and giving the children the tools and the skills on how to ask for taking a break are so important. At different ages, you're going to have to integrate more breaks for a younger child than an older child. And again, your child is going to show you by their behavior how often they're going to need a break. Sometimes a child may be only able to work for a minute, and then they're going to need a break. And you might be scheduling something where it's a minute of work and then it's a break. Where there might be other children where they can work for 5 minutes, or they can work for 10 minutes, and then they need a break. So really, you have to gauge it around how the child is responding as you're there with them working. And signs of frustration, either in their tone of voice or their body language, they're just starting to get squirmy. Great opportunities to throw in breaks. But the more you can regularly schedule a break throughout a working session, the better. And if you have a group of children working together, group breaks are great, but you may have some that can work for longer periods, so you might have different break opportunities happening with each child. Teenagers frequently can work for longer periods of time, and really for them, learning to self-manage their breaks so that they can recognize when the words are just not flowing, I'm starting to feel stress, now would be a good time to take a break. And it may be that you would have them set a timer for themselves so that they would say, oh, I'm going to do 30 minutes of work, and then I'm going to take a 15-minute break. And because sometimes they can get caught up in their work and keep working, and then all of a sudden they've really exhausted themselves and they haven't taken a break. So with teenagers, setting timers can also be motivational, because it sets some boundaries for them when they're really not motivated to do work. And if they know, oh, okay, if I do 30 minutes of work and then I can take a break and I can maybe go on some social media and do something that's interesting, that can help them in those times and create a motivational tool as well for doing some of those harder activities. Managing breaks is always a little bit tricky, because once children start to have fun, it's really hard to get them to come back to activities like writing, doing math. So a great way to manage these is to actually set a little visual schedule for them, where you would write out their list of activities and you put break times in there, but then you would also use a timer. Timers are great, and cell phones, timers on the microwave or on the stove are great. And it's really being clear with the children before they get into the break. Okay, we're going to take a 5-minute break, and everyone gets a choice, but in 5 minutes the timer's going to go, and we're going to all come back and we're start our work session. And I also recommend that when you are using a timer, that don't just rely on the timer going off and coming back, but give the kids warning that the timer is going to go off. And for some kids, it may be helpful to say, hey, in 1 minute the timer is going to go off, or maybe they need a 2-minute countdown and then a 1-minute countdown and then a 30-second countdown, but just that they have some warning that it's going to end and we're going to go back to work, but then letting them know that we're going to have another break coming up, so that they haven't lost all their fun activities. There's more fun activities coming, but we need to do a little bit of work, and then we're going to go and have another break.